Hey guys, welcome back to the Interceptor. We are here with Alliance Wars Season 53, Number 10, and Matrix has matched up against Cal 6. And we have a pretty big war today, having a total of 15 fights between my two accounts. So this is going to be a longer war video than usual. I also apologize, my nose is a little bit stuffed up right now. So if I have to blow my nose a couple times during this recording, I apologize. Also, my voice just probably sounds a little bit bad. I'm not sick. Like, I feel 100%. I went to the gym yesterday. I'll be going to the gym again today. But just a little bit odd. Just have to blow my nose every once in a while. But pretty fun war today, so let's not get in the way of that. We are actually using Professor X in war for the first time ever. This first fight is Path 5 Section 1. We have this Wong. Pretty straightforward fight. Basically, just keep heavying. And as soon as you get to L3, the fight's over. So that's what we're going to be doing. In hindsight, sometimes when I activate Special 1, it is not going to trigger Dex. Or like when he activates Special 1. And there would have been no downside in the moment to countering the special to pause the regeneration charges. And I don't really know why I didn't. But here I am going to, just before he gets to 15. Now, we do have enough charges that we would bypass miss, so that's not the reason we're doing it. The reason we're doing it is so the power gain doesn't activate. Because, I mean, I guess technically there's no downside to the power gain activating because he's special locked anyways, and he can't use a special 3 even if he gets there. But yeah, L3 gets us back to L3, and this Wong is about to be dead because Professor X's L3 hits very hard, in addition to stacking prowess, new prowess, after every single special that you use. So pretty straightforward. This fight here, Ebony Maw with Professor X. This is on heavy hitter, so we will need to reparry in this matchup. However, it's again basically the same fight. Reach L3, the fight's over. So that's what we're going to be trying to do. Okay. And this fight doesn't go perfectly. I believe I don't get hit, but I think something else happens. Oh, I remember what happens. Right here, I forgot how pathetically small Ebony Maw's, or sorry, not Ebony Maw, Professor X's light reach is. So I was whiffing a couple lights to get closer to heavy counter heavy, and I didn't get nearly close enough. But yeah, L3. We've already degenerated at this point, so if we get nullified again, we're not going to degen, and we have too many charges to miss. So we're just trying to reach L3 here. And there we are able to counter SP1, which is great. There, I did know my falter would activate, because you always have that as a backup. And then here we just need to knock him down one more time. Remove the protection, and then heavy charge to lock their power, and then go into a special 1. So yeah, after that first mistake there, in that fight was really easy, and the cleanup was very simple. So, well, not cleanup, but you know what? You know what I meant. The recovery of the fight was very straightforward. And here we'll go on to Section 2, where we actually have no fights with Professor X. We have one fight with White Magneto, and we have 3 fights, or sorry, and 1 fight with Ultron. And then we have more fights with Ultron later. But Negasonic Teenage Warhead on this node isn't too hard. And the reason is because you can heavy counter heavy. Something I didn't know when I fought Negasonic Teenage Warhead the last time, and I ended up dying to her on node 39 because I couldn't control the global. And yeah, turns out it's actually really easy to heavy counter heavy, and I just didn't know how. Because I wildly underestimated the reach of Ultron's heavy, because it looks like it's shorter than it actually is. I don't know why, but for some reason the animation just looks like it doesn't take up that much space, but it actually does. It takes up a lot of space. So here we're actually able to get our degens off with the cauterize, and you can see they're doing a lot of damage, over 5,000 damage per tick right now, so over 10,000 per second, and we are able to eat up all of those degens and get a cauterize on our L1, which is amazing to finish that fight off. Next fight here we have this Baron Zemo, and I'm sure that when this was assigned, it was intended for me to use Professor X. However, in a scenario where I'm not able to kill him before the root comes, I would rather have a bleed immune. So that's why we are using White Magneto here, just to get a bleed immune. And basically the strat of this fight is get to L2 and the fight should be over. And you can't really die here. I mean, if you were to throw a special one during root, he would gain a bunch of furies, and that would make it scary. But yeah, we're at L2. We're going to throw the first L2. It's going to get us back to L2. Block beta dash. Counter with a special. Boom. One more time. And that is the end of the fight. 201,000 damage on the last L2, which is pretty cool. Nice crit there. But even with 0 crits on any of the L2s, that wouldn't have been a hard fight. And at this point, I've taken node 39 Bishop so many times with Ultron that I might start to skip the fight. However, in this war, something different happens, where I am going to decide to lose my mind and completely forget how to play the game, and almost die to this Bishop. So here I was counting my energy because I saw that I had 40 seconds left to my next energy, but when I count all of the fights I need to get to, I only need 5 energy. Or sorry, I only need 6 energy instead of 7. And had I waited those extra 30 seconds, I would have had 7 energy. Anyways. Here we are against Bishop. We're going to start off the fight absolutely amazing by just taking a hit to the face and missing my initial parry. Wonderful. Luckily, he didn't punish me with a 5-hit combo, or else this fight could have gone very differently. And yeah, he's going to throw the L1 a lot in this fight, and I'm going to make the really stupid mistake a couple times of trying to counter the L1 and getting parried. I don't know why I did that, because I know you can't counter the L1, okay? I'm very familiar with Bishop. I don't know why, for some reason, in my brain, in this moment, I thought that you could. I know you can't. And I'm going to get parried multiple times in this fight, attempting to punish the L1. And that's only the first time. So at this point, you're thinking, Sam, how could this fight possibly go wrong? You're winning the health race by 20%. Just wait. It's going to get worse. There, I didn't counter the L1, but I think right here I do. Yeah, and I get parried again, and I'm in the corner. I'm at 30%, and I'm like, oh no. He throws an L2, goes unblockable. Luckily, I managed to dex the first 2 hits. But here we're at L3, so we can no longer throw any more special attacks for the rest of the fight, because if you weren't aware, there's currently a bug active on this node where even if you throw your SP3 while you have 0 power stings, the order of operations inflicts a power sting before it drains your power. Because if your special 3 pushes the defender to a special, they gain a power sting normally. But the order of operations actually have the Power Sting activate before your power is drained. So you take Power Sting damage even if you throw your L3 when there are no Power Stings active. So I knew in that moment, okay, unless he's at literally 0 power, I can't throw the special. So we're going to go on to our next mini, which is going to be Wolverine Weapon X on node 44. Hazard Shift, Stun Immune. Pretty straightforward fight. I mean, I've taken him on just about every Hazard Shift node, and none of them can really make the fight difficult. So this one basically goes the exact same way that every single other one has gone. So we are just going to reparry there until I'm able to get a combo in after he throws a heavy attack. And now I just need to throw my own heavy and then bait the L1. And as soon as I bait the L1, he enters his Berserk Rage, after which I need to bait one more heavy attack in there because the Unstoppable is on cooldown. We are fine, and he is just going to throw SP1 for the rest of the fight every single opportunity he has. So we are just going to keep hitting him. He's going to get the power gain. We don't really care about that, though, because he's going to die so fast. And here we are able to combo into a Striker and throw our heavy attack while we have the Cauterize up to do a lot of extra damage. So yeah, that fight was really clean, really fast. And we are going to go claim these rewards here, because Ultron is a really old champion in the game. Next up, we have node 48, Domino. And this is a pretty straightforward fight with Ultron. There is one moment in the fight here where it does get a little bit scary, but you'll see that when it happens. And there's regen on this node, but as soon as we get up the tactic heal block, that'll be taken care of. And we just have to make sure to strategically use our heavy attacks when the shrug off node's on cooldown. We are, for the most part, going to completely ignore the combat deja vu prowess and the prowess puncture, mostly because Domino is not a defender that you need to parry to get your openings. You can dex or medium and counter with a light attack. So I'll just let the start of this fight play. But yeah, there's not going to be anything difficult about this matchup. It's going to be pretty straightforward. It's going to be a little bit longer because you are going to be losing out on a lot of your DOT damage. Here, because I didn't do a medium ender, I didn't get my third charge before I threw my heavy. But we got it right there, and then we also got our evade. Actually, we have not gotten our combo ender charge yet. I think I messed it up. Yeah, okay. Because at this point, yeah, I have parry, I have crit, I have cauterize, and I have evade. There we go. Okay, I didn't have cauterize. So maybe when I threw my first special 2, I didn't have any degens active before. So that makes more sense. That does make sense. So now I could technically gain another charge by 1, pushing myself to 50% health and activating my regen, and 2, by power draining and stunning with my special 3. But I don't really see the point of that, so we're not going to do that. Yeah, so this is what I was talking about, that one moment in the fight where it gets a little bit sketchy. Domino decides to walk all the way from her corner to my corner of the screen. And then she finally throws her special. And because she's at 14 charges, I have to punish the special to pause the charges, or she would have activated her power gain, excuse me, her power gain and her miss before I would have had the chance to get a heal block up. So yeah, here we go for a striker to finish off the fight. A little bit under 2 minutes, but that was my last Ultron fight, so I'm not too worried about it. And we will go to the main course of this war, which is Professor X versus a rank 3 7-star Enchantress boss. And this is going to be really interesting because Professor X does not counter the global in any way. This is going to be all him. And the strat here is going to be heavy counter heavy until I'm at special 3. And then just power lock them. And I did read through her kit, and I did some duels to practice what I would need to do to counter every single possible combination of spells she could start with. And the worst case scenario is that she starts with orange spells, and she starts with the passives that require, or the passives that made her evade all knockdown. That is the worst case scenario. That didn't happen, which is nice. Excuse me. However, I unfortunately dashed back there, and she did activate her special 1, and in order to remove the charges, I had to intercept her once, which actually went really well. Because if I don't do that, each orange charge gives her a 20% protection to all damage. And that's not really good when I'm trying to power back cycle her with Professor X. It's not the best thing to happen in the world. And yeah, here we're cycling L2s. And after my first L3 didn't get me back to L3, I was a little bit worried. But when I saw how much damage my L2 was doing, I wasn't worried anymore. Because each L2 was giving me more and more power after I use it. And I knew eventually I would get back to special 3. And yeah, the fight went down under a minute and a half. And to come out with that much health against a matchup that I was so scared of, I'm very, very happy for that to happen. Also, one thing I should mention, I have fought Enchantress 4 times this meta. 3 times last season, and this is the first time I've fought her this season. This is the first time I haven't died to her. I've died to her, I think, a total between those first 3 fights of 5 times. Or 4 times. I don't remember. But that was my first ever time soloing Enchantress in war, and it was on a boss node. To be fair, I did get practice in off-season. I have taken an off-season boss with Mr. Negative, a rank 3 boss unboosted, which went really well, and I did solo with like 85% health remaining, which is great. But yeah, here now we have my ult. This is Path 6 Section 1 Vox, and I am splitting the path with someone else. I let the next player take Prowler because he had Corvus Glaive and he needed charges. Let me skip ahead. So here we are in Section 2, and we actually do have a good amount of fights left. I believe we have 4 minis and 2 path fights left, so 7 fights despite splitting a path in Section 1. And we are boosting up here. We have Corvus Glaive, or not Corvus Glaive, CGR. We have Ultron for 1, 2, 3, 4 fights, and then we also have Valkyrie for 1 fight. So here, Killmonger, this node does absolutely nothing for Killmonger, like it actually doesn't benefit him in any way. And he is solely here to split a path. Now, that SP1 boost was totally not necessary. The only reason I used it is because I had some expiring, like actually in the overflow. Because every single time they come into the store, I buy them, but I just don't end up using them because I don't need them. So they just end up piling up, and I actually did have an SP1 boost expire. So we're trying to use them. Because, I mean, in this specific fight, they didn't make the fight any faster. They didn't do anything because that L2 still would have gotten me to an L3 even without the SP1 boost. But still. L3 does a good amount of damage. Not quite as much as I was thinking, So we're going to combo in here. And we're actually going to get no crits on this L1, despite the fact that we had our precision passive. Had even a single hit crit there, he would have died. But you know what? It's whatever. He threw his special 2, wasted a little bit of time. But that is CGR's last fight, so can't really be mad about it. Here on what this is, node 29, we have Domino. Pretty straightforward fight. You basically see a tactic mutant champion here every single war, so I end up taking this path quite often. Because Ultron reduces the duration of passive shocks in addition to active shocks. Sorry about that, I just had to blow my nose, so I muted my mic so it wasn't annoying and loud. But this matchup's pretty easy. I like the matchup of Ultron versus Domino quite a lot. And on this node, it's very easy as well, because Ultron just takes care of the node. I mean, even when he has like 8 or 9 charges, or she has 8 or 9 charges up and she throws a special, sure, it ticks for a little bit, but it goes away so fast that the damage is really almost nothing. So here we have node 39 Bishop again for the second time in this war. This one I do make, I believe, one mistake in, but it's overall just a much cleaner version of the fight I had on my main. I think I have a invulnerability boost on, if I recall correctly. I could be wrong. No, I have an SP1 boost on. Okay, that's fine. And in this fight, I was remembering how poorly the other fight had gone, and then I remembered how well the fight has gone in the past when I have decided not to suck. So, we decided to just take this one a little bit slow. I'm not going to be rushing it. We are just going to be trying to we're just trying to solo this with a lot of health left, and I honestly don't really know what happened in the other Bishop fight this war, because it's a fight I've taken so many times that I feel so comfortable with. It's so weird for it just to randomly go really poorly, and I don't really understand why, but combination of a lot of mistakes. I clearly wasn't thinking straight at the time, and yeah, that resulted in me almost dying to the fight that I've soloed so many times. Here we decide to eat the end of an L2 again, just like I did in my main, but obviously it is far less dangerous right now. And there the L1 goes unblockable. That's just unfortunate. If the L1 goes unblockable, I can't do anything. I mean, physically it can be dexed. I have done it before. There I get my heavy attack off literally like a frame before my degens come back. So, yeah. I mean, not the cleanest fight, but compared to my main when I took that war, or where I took that fight, it was a lot better. So here we have node 42 Emma Frost, and honestly this is a fight I probably could have done with CGR. Probably would have been pretty easy. But we are doing this with Ultron. Nothing really to say about this matchup. You can't safely heavy counter heavy in the middle of the field, but you can do it in your corner. So once I combo her, I am going to dash back into my own corner to get a heavy attack off. And the reason is not her reaction time. The reason is actually the range, and you would have to throw a light attack before throwing your heavy attack, and there's just no time for that. Here she's going to throw the heavy, but because my evade triggered, I was worried I wouldn't react fast enough. And then there, I actually don't know what happened. Big dumb idiot move. I ate the L1. Luckily, it doesn't end up doing much damage. And spoiler alert, this is going to be a very, very safe fight. Very quick fight. Not actually that quick because of the protection. And I don't have that many opportunities to remove the protection. But I just need to bait the L1, combo into a special one. Or, sorry, combo into an L2. Yeah. And then I need to use my striker, get my heavy attack off to apply really big degens. And there we do get it done. And look at those degens. That's like 4,400 per second. That's pretty decent. And in this matchup, if you throw your L1 or your L3, you are basically dead. Because all the damage gets reflected. And if your L1 crits, that'll do like 60% of your health. And so we're just going to throw L2s in this fight. We're just going to throw L2s, really simple, and the fight does go down here. Maybe not a perfect matchup, but my officer was discussing sending someone like Omega Sentinel. In my opinion, Ultron is far superior to Omega Sentinel in that matchup there. Now, is it possible to complete the fight faster with Omega Sentinel than Ultron the way I just played it? Sure, but I also did not play that fight that well. I could have been a lot faster, probably a good 30 seconds faster. That could have been a 55 to 60 second fight. But now we have Mr. Sinister, and I have talked about this before, but in the matchup of Ultron versus Mr. Sinister, it can be quite slow, and the reason it can be quite slow is because your degens get removed whenever Sinister throws a special attack. And then there, I wasn't paying attention to the cooldown timer on the Shrug-Off node, and the reason is because the timer for the node Shrug-Off and the timer for the global pause that you get for countering specials is the exact same identical timer, and I couldn't tell which was which. So that's the reason that happened. But yeah, trying to bait L1s. If you do bait L2s in this matchup, it's not the worst thing in the world. It's just a little bit annoying because obviously you get a concussion on you. And while your function abilities can't crit fail, your parry can. Or not crit fail, just fail in general from the concussion. Excuse me. Again, I do apologize in this video because my nose is a little bit stuffed, so I probably sound a little bit weird. But I did want to get war videos out for you guys, and honestly, it doesn't really detract from the quality of the video at all. So, I'm not too worried about it. And yeah, this fight's going to go down. Really, really difficult to die in this matchup. I don't even know how you would possibly do that. But here, got the Shrug-Off on cooldown. Going to go for our heavy attack. Or no, we're not even going to go for a heavy attack. Because the defender was at 2%, so they just die. Now here, for our last fight of the war, this placement really confuses me. I don't understand it, honestly. This is going to be Node 48JJ. And this, I don't get. Because I understand that a lot of champions that counter JJ want to rely on DOT, such as Nick Fury. However, Valkyrie is the hardest Jessica Jones counter in the game. Single-handedly the hardest counter. Why would you place her on a node where Valkyrie just absolutely destroys her? And you're going to see that in this video. So this matchup, really, really straightforward. We threw on a special 1 boost solely so that we can reach our L2 faster. But we're going to get up a couple pierces. We're going to get up a couple bulwarks, and then we're going to throw our L2. And this matchup is just so easy. I could literally do this in my sleep. And yeah, we're just trying to get our second bulwark up before we revert our combo. Here we're at 13, so we're going to go medium, light, light, medium. Revert my combo into an L2. And at this point, that did so much damage that I know that all I have to do to finish off this fight is get back to another L2. So we're going to bait a few special ones, counter them, and I believe... Oh, yeah, we're just going to get up a final pierce before we throw the special, looks like. There we go. And yeah, this L2 very safely kills. And we actually end the fight without taking any damage because we started out the fight hitting into the block. So, clean fight, easy fight, not really much to say about that one. That was the only reason I brought Valk. And the fight was just very, very easy. So that's going to be it for this one. We did end up losing this war. I don't remember what the score was. Wait, did we? No, we won this war. We won this war. The score was like 10 to... Yeah, here, look. Yeah, we won the war. I believe the final score was like 10 to 30 something. And actually it was pretty cool that this is the first ever war that both of my accounts got MVP. My main got MVP 1 for 8 fights, and my alt got MVP 2 for 7 fights. And then also shout out to Mendel for getting the 3rd MVP. So, we are now 4-6 on the season. Obviously, one of those wars don't count towards this overall season, but since I counted the war towards my stats, we're going to count it here. And my death total is still at 3, 2 on my main, 1 on my alt. Overall, my PSR is at 112 out of 115, or 97%. My main PSR is at 59 out of 61, or 97%. And my alt PSR is at 53 out of 54, or 98%. Also, my overall Deathless streak currently is at 48 fights. And I have a 50 Deathless streak on my main and a 23 Deathless streak on my alt. All that means is at the last time that I died, I had a 25 streak on my main. And then my alt got reset. So obviously that main streak continues until I die on my main account. But as I said in the War 8 video, I don't have the recordings for War number 9 because my phone was full and I couldn't hold the videos. So that is why you're not going to be seeing War number 9 video. But I did look at the stats and I did add them to both the PSR, the main PSR, the alt PSR, and the Deathless streaks. So all that information is up to date. I do apologize for such a long war video, a 33-minute video, and in hindsight I probably could have cropped out both of the Bishop fights because you guys have seen me take Note 39 Bishop with Ultron so many times. But I just want to include all my fights. And that is going to be it for this one. Hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.